Dr. Chris Cruz-Boone, thank you so much for joining us in studio today for your candidacy. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. I'm really grateful for the opportunity.
So you've been involved in education for a very long time. So I have to ask, what kind of inspired you to try out politics in the state assembly?
I really appreciate this question. I can think of a million reasons, but just a couple off the top of my head. You know, I'm a part of a lot of online social media mom groups here in Tulare and Kern County. Those moms barter formula and food so they can feed their families. I'm running for folks like that. I'm running for folks who work full-time jobs but have a side hustle just so they can afford Christmas for their kids, because 40 hours a week isn't enough to pay for more than the basics of gas and utilities and food. I'm running for seniors in my community who are afraid to go to the doctor, that blood test might not be covered and they're on a fixed income. I'm running for workers and teachers and parents who want a choice that's not another business as usual millionaire, and I'm giving them that choice. I wanted that choice, and I want my community to have that choice.
We're going to get into each of those issues down the road.
Wonderful.
But if you can at least introduce yourself for us.
Sure.
You know, you, again, longtime educator, award-winning, but just
you.
for members of our community who might not be as familiar with you, Doctor, if you could introduce yourself.
It's so strange to talk about myself. I have been teaching in Kern County since 2005, and I've taught in a lot of the surrounding areas as well. I have been married for 22 years to my high school sweetheart. Let's go Blades, class of 99. We have 2 kids that are in public school here in Bakersfield. Rescue dog, we live downtown, born and raised here, we went away for school. In 2023, I was actually, I won Higher Educator of the Year for the entire state of California and my dedication to my students. In 2020, I was a Stanford Fellow. 2020, I unseated a longstanding incumbent and was elected to the Bakersfield City School District School Board.
So the school board was kind of your first, I guess, attempt and successful attempt at local, I guess, governance, local leadership.
Locally, yes. 2012 was my first statewide board. It was a union board, the California Faculty Association. So that was the first time I ever, I guess, ran for representing folks. But 2020 was, COVID was happening. There was a lot of chaos and upheaval in our schools. And I really felt like we needed a parent voice in local governance. And I really feel like I've been successful at that.
And then 2023, you were elected president.
Board president, that's correct. In 2023, I was elected board president of BCSD.
Okay. And then, so if you win the state assembly seat, would you be resigning from the board
Absolutely,
presidency? Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't be resigning as a mom or a teacher, but I can't do everything.
Right, you have to balance what you can.
You have to balance what you can.
Right, right. And then to delve into some of those issues, again, education, I know is a huge topic for you. You credited public education as helping you get to where you are today. So if we can talk a little bit more about any issues you've noticed with education when it comes down from the state level into local places like Bakersfield.
Yeah, I really appreciate that question. The change from teaching in the CSU to teaching in the community colleges, the way they make you take attendance for adults is a statewide initiative that just doesn't make any sense. And it's just bureaucracy. As I've been on a school board, when COVID happened, the rules would change every week, which was a difficult thing to communicate to the parents and create a lot of frustration as we tried to move forward. Recently, there's a new law, and I believe it's 1599 by Ramos, but I know it's our state representative Ramos, not our representative, a Sacramento representative Ramos, that originally the intent of the law was students would be offered rehab instead of being expelled if they were found in possession of drugs. That bill has been amended to include wording that if a student self-discloses that they are under the influence, they automatically could not be expelled. That's not common sense. That's not good for the crises that we're facing in our schools or in the Valley. And I'm tired of folks who don't have children, folks who have never been in a classroom, coming up with proclamations from Sacramento and sending them down. In short, I'm really sick of millionaires deciding what's best for my community.
So you really do have that firsthand experience when it comes to education and children even. You also talked a lot about affordability, how 40 hours a week may not be enough anymore to buy the necessities and maybe some luxuries.
Sure.
Talk to us a little bit more about the economy, because that is a frustration nationwide even.
Well, I mean, and we really feel it here in Kern County, especially in the summer months when it gets so hot. So my husband and I, we did achieve the American dream of buying so my American dream was to have a house with 3 bathrooms, so we didn't have to fight over one. So that was my American dream. And we have that and we love it. And it's a little 1,300 square foot home and we love it. It's energy efficient, it has new windows. We really, try to be thoughtful about our energy uses. But in August, our electric bill was over $900. And so we had to cut back on groceries that month. And that experience that our family felt, that's an experience that is felt across Tulare and Kern County, but that isn't really experienced by millionaires in the same way.
And Doctor, where do you stand on, I guess, Central Valley specific issues like oil and agriculture and water? Because when we talk about Kern County economy, Tulare economy, right, a lot of people attribute that type of success and prosperity to those topics like oil, ag and water. So what are your plans to tackle those specific areas when you get to Sacramento?
I love this question, and I think that my opponent and I share a lot of common priorities on these issues. If not, the way that we would go about it is a little bit different. I think when we talk about water, losing Tulare Lake is a history that we shouldn't soon forget, and we know that we're reliving that history in the groundwater in Kern and Tulare County. How do we protect that? How do we make sure that we have enough clean water to last us, not just for our homes, but also for our industries? And Sacramento doesn't understand those complexities. They need a voice of a common person to go in and explain. I, have taught early college out at Arvin High School, one of my favorite places to teach. And I arrived to teach my class and was sent away because there wasn't clean drinking water at the high school. Days like that are all too common in the Valley, and Sacramento needs to hear that from people who've really experienced it.
And what about oil? How do we transition to that clean energy, or do we keep on drilling like many, people in your opposing party would often suggest?
I think it's a really great question. We have a very vibrant industry here, and I don't think that there's a problem necessarily with the oil industry. I think the problem is oil lobbyists. And one commitment I made on my website, and I want to make clear to your listeners, I will never be beholden to oil lobbyists. I will never take money from that sector. Now, that doesn't mean I'm anti-oil. I have a lot of family who work out in the oil fields. I have a lot of friends who pay for their kids, Christmas gifts from the oil industry. I understand how central it is to Tulare and Kern County, but I am making a pledge that I'll listen to those workers and I'll listen to the people whose livelihood is necessary for that industry. I won't just vote with whoever decides to cut me the fattest check.
I know not everyone wants to discuss party politics, but now that you are in the field of
Sure.
politics, Doctor, I think when it comes to oil specifically, a lot of Kern County individuals, many of whom lean conservative, aren't fans of what Governor Newsom, a Democrat, how he handles Kern County economy and his plans for our future here. And so you identify as a Democrat. How do you kind of work with your party, but also maybe in some ways against your party in Sacramento to tackle those Kern and Tulare specific issues?
I think this is such an important question because one of the biggest problems isn't Democrat versus Republican. It's elite millionaires versus everyday people. And everyday people deserve an option and a voice that isn't another millionaire that's beholden to other millionaires. I provide that option. So will I push back against Democrats? Absolutely. Will I push back against Republicans? Absolutely. When it's about staying true to who I am and my values that start in my home, that extend to our schools, that extend to our community, I know who I am. I know what my community needs, and I won't let millionaires push me around and tell me what that is.
I'm curious, so I'm not sure if you already are having conversations with the local Democratic Party
Sure.
about an endorsement or their support, but if they were to come out and say, hey, Cruz-Boone is our candidate for this race, would you accept their endorsement? How would that work?
Absolutely. I am a registered Democrat. I'm not changing who I am. I'm not changing my hair. I'm not changing my profession. I'm not. People in Tulare and Kern County, they have BS meters. They can tell whether you're an authentic person or not. So, I'm not going to be disingenuous in any way and change any part of who I am. Anyone who wants to support me, I will take that support. I'm running a grassroots campaign. I don't have hundreds of millions of dollars that I can fall back on for hiring a staff. I would be honored to take any and every person that would like to support me, except for oil lobbyists.
Have you had any conversations with the current Democrats?
Yeah, and I've sent in a request for endorsement. They let me know they'd like to wait until after the full process for candidates comes out. I mean, maybe another person will emerge in the race. We don't know until we know.
Right. And the district 8032 is also majority Republican, and many people who have held the district formerly, like now Congressman Vince Fong, are Republican as well. So you said you're going to be yourself. You're staying true to yourself. It's a grassroots campaign.
Sure.
But how do you persuade, again, many of those more conservative-leaning voters that you, a registered Democrat, or perhaps more left-leaning in some areas, you are their candidate?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm a real person. I'm a person who will represent Kern County, all the workers, all the teachers, most importantly, the parents. It's been a long time. You're right. We've only sent 2 women, Shannon Grove and Jean Fuller, to Sacramento in this district. We have sent Democrats like Rudy Salas in this district. I think it's time that we send a parent with children in our public schools. We send an employee of our public schools. We send someone who has been married 22 years and invested and volunteers in their community. I think that that's actually what our voters are looking for. I think there are people, both Republicans and Democrat, that are fed up with business as usual in the party, and I give them a different option.
Breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I mean, like, I may be a Democrat, but I don't stand behind all of the things that Democrats do. And I think there are a lot of Republicans who, feel really strong about their Republican values, but they don't stand behind everything all the candidates do.
I know we talked a lot about those millionaires and how they're kind of the same options voters like yourself have been presented with over and over and over again. But again, when it comes to that Democratic supermajority in Sacramento, Doctor, what's kind of the biggest issue or problem you've had with them, something you'd want to tackle head on day one?
Oh, I really like this question. Let me think about it for a second. I mean, the day one issue for me getting to Sacramento is education. Day one issue is education and having a parent's point of view and an educator's point of view and a San Joaquin Central Valley point of view. And that's different with out-of-touch folks that we send to Sacramento. And I'm not saying they're not good representatives. I'm not saying that there aren't some folks that do meaningful work in Sacramento. But what I'm saying is those folks don't have children. They live for politics. They don't wake up in the morning and make breakfast for their kid on the first day of finals at BHS and then come do an interview. They sit with a bunch of consultants who tell them what to say. I'm not those people, and I'll be who I am in Sacramento.
And on your website, Doctor, another issue you mentioned was crime and public safety. Again, even right here in the streets of Bakersfield, we see that issue daily. Tell us what your plans are on that topic.
I really love the issue. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. I don't love the issue of crime. No, but I'm really glad, that this is. I mean, we just had a shooting at the Valley Plaza. My kids want to go there and walk around and hang out like I did when I was younger, and it's not a safe place to go anymore, right? So we have to think about those things. I'm really fortunate. My twin sister is a deputy probation officer, and so she is constantly lamenting to me the way that the laws, the different justice laws that they test and experiment with, are handed down from Sacramento, and so. I have a lot of really great advisors when it comes to crime, and I know that they will help me, especially my sister, Officer Flores, will help me push back on the important issues that make it harder for law enforcement professionals in our community to do their job.
And I know part of that for you is drug prevention, drug awareness. Again, an issue we see firsthand here in the streets of Bakersfield, Kern, and Tulare. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
So this March, my father, Billy, died of an overdose on the streets of Los Angeles. And it took many months to identify him and notify us, in part because the system treats addicts and unhoused people like garbage. And they're not. They're somebody's father. And this is a really personal issue for me. And I've really attacked it head on as a school board president. We have been able to put vape detection sensors in our schools. We've been able to create education about drug prevention throughout our school system. We've been able to partner with local agencies and make sure that we have Narcan, which is the overdose prevention in all of our school sites in BCSD. And so little by little, we're finding ways to solve the problem. If it's as simple as, you know, making sure there's Narcan on street corners at places like Martin's Meat on 21st Street, just having that there could save someone's life. When I get to Sacramento, it's definitely something that I want to talk about, because I think we still have a lot of laws that punish people for being addicts or being sick, and we don't have a lot of systems and structures for helping them get better and meaningfully contribute to our society.
I'm very sorry for your loss, Doctor. It
I
is a
appreciate
very
that.
important issue.
Yeah.
And really quickly, because we are running out of
Sure,
time.
sorry.
No.
I told you, I'm a teacher, so I can just gab and gab
I
and gab.
love it. See, I mean, voters, but they want to hear this. They want to hear about who you are, your
Sure.
background, what your plans are. So this is perfect. I want to really quickly touch on your opponent, Stan Ellis, the only opponent so far. But like you said,
Sure.
we don't know until it's over.
Right.
He is a Republican. I guess that's kind of the big difference, your party registration. But also in your press release announcing your candidacy, you characterized him as an elitist with deep ties to the political establishment. That was the big contrast you set between him and yourself. Tell us a little bit more about your description of Ellis and why you are that different candidate.
And I have never had an opportunity to meet Mr. Stan Ellis. Something I admire deeply about him, based on what I've read, is that he is a bipartisan candidate. So although he has an R next to his name, he is a generous contributor to Republican and Democratic established candidates alike across the Valley. A lot of people trust him in the political system, which is maybe why I'm getting so much resistance for support. But I admire that he has connections on both sides. That's not something I can ever match. I don't have millions of dollars to give to political candidates. All I have is who I am, my voice, and my deep heart and passion for my community. And what I was trying to get across, I didn't mean it in a derogatory way, to say that Mr. Ellis is part of an elite community. I live in a 1,000 square foot house, you know, with my 2 kids, and struggle when my PG&E bill goes up yet again. Mr. Ellis lives in a huge sprawling ranch and has hundreds of millions of dollars. When I say he's elite, I don't mean that in a way that I'm being disparaging towards his hard work and success. What I mean is, I think he's out of touch with the everyday experiences of parents and workers and the people of this valley.
And obviously the primary for this race is in February.
Yes.
The general is in April. So
Yes.
it's going to be months of campaigning for you. What's next, Doctor, especially when politics can get expensive and competitive oftentimes?
You know, I'm really lucky. My daughter is a senior in high school. So this will be the first race she ever gets to vote in. And her first opportunity to participate in our democracy will be voting for her mom. So, you know, there's a lot of work, and there's a lot of phone calls, a lot of interviews. There's a lot of things that have to happen between now and April, but being worthy of my daughter's vote is something that will keep me going every day between now and April.
That's exciting. Getting to see your
I'm
mom
excited.
on the ballot.
I hope it
That's
is.
so cool.
I really, you know,
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I already have one of my former
Aw.
students already sent me bracelets for
Bracelet,
8032.
yeah.
So young people
Yeah.
are excited about my campaign, and we've had a lot of youth apathy in our community when it comes to democracy. So maybe I could be the candidate that inspires them to get out there and get involved.
And really quickly before I let you go, Doctor, I have to ask, the blue turquoise hair, I love the color choice. How did you decide on it?
Well, you know, I never colored my hair my entire life. And when my daughter was in 4th grade, I told her if she got straight A's that I would color my hair because she was too young to do so. And we went to the hair salon after she got straight A's, and she pointed at the barber side and said, I want that color. I thought I was going to be like a blonde or a redhead, and she was like, that one. So that is how I came to have blue hair, and it really has become my signature. My students love it. It makes me more approachable. People can find their school board member out in the community, and you know, it's just hair. So it's been really fun for me.
So how many years has it been now?
Probably 11 years.
Oh my
I mean, a long
gosh.
time. I don't know, 10?
Yeah.
How long has my hair been blue? Whenever she got straight A's.
It's been colored since.
Yeah, I tried different colors a couple
Yeah.
times, but people are like, where's the blue
Where's
hair?
the blue?
You know,
It's
it
a
really
trademark
has
now.
become a trademark. And when I ran for school board, people, you
Uh-huh.
know, I had a lot of political consultants who were like, you seem very nice, but your hair is terrible and you have to change it. And I said to them, I really would love to share this with the voters. I remember there was one consultant, perfectly lovely, and said, you know, and I didn't try to hire a consultant. They came to me and said, just so you know, you need a consultant for your image. And some free advice changed the hair. And I said, I don't want my children to see me change myself. Because I'm not a politician, I'm still their mom. And especially for the young women in our community, they need to see strong mothers who just walk through the world as we are and proud of who we are and what we look like. And I don't plan on changing a darn thing.
Well, Dr. Cruz-Boone, thank you so much for your time again. Best of luck
Thank
with your
you so
campaign.
much, Jenny.
Thank
I
you.
really
Nice
appreciate
to
your
meet
time.
you.